Hello, my name is George Alexander, and welcome to our continuing videotape series on Okinawan Shorin-ryu Karate. This particular tape will deal with the Hakutsuru Kata of Kumemura Village, Okinawa. I'm really proud to be able to bring this to you because it is a most rare and beautiful kata, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. But before we get into the technical aspects of the kata, I'd like to just mention a few other things about the historical background and so forth concerning this particular form. Number one, Kumemura Hakutsuru Kata is the grandfather kata of all different versions of Hakutsuru. Another thing is, I'm sure as many of you know, the white crane system was formulated or invented in China and then brought to Ryukyu or Okinawa. One of the places it was brought to was Kumemura, or Kume Village, Okinawa. Now, this particular village was settled by certain Chinese immigrants known as the Sanjuroku Seito, or the 36 families. They were charged with the responsibility of enhancing Okinawa's cultural and commercial development as a satellite of China. And of course, the transmission of Chinese martial arts to Okinawa was also accomplished here. Another thing is that there are certain historical figures that are important in the absorption of the white crane system into Okinawan karate. One of them is Bushi or warrior Sokan Matsumura. Now, he is an Okinawan folk hero who lived from 1797 to 1889. Now, it's reported that in the 1830s, Matsumura went to China and studied at the Shaolin Temple. Then later, in the 1860s, he made a subsequent trip to China and brought back the Chinese white crane master Iwa, and the two of them taught many Okinawans the white crane system. That brings us to another gentleman who actually lived in the early part of this century, Gokenki. Now, Gokenki was a Chinese tea merchant who established a shop in Naha and then taught many Okinawans in the back room of his tea shop. Now, one of them was Kenwa Mabuni, the founder of Shito-ryu karate. Now, Mabuni Sensei passed on many of the white crane techniques inherited from Gokenki. Also, within the syllabus of Shito-ryu's karate kata is a form known as Hakucho, or white bird, which is a form of Hakutsuru kata. And then finally, Grandmaster Hohan Soken, who is the founder of the Matsumura Seito line of Shorin-ryu karate, also studied under Gokenki in the early part of the century. The founder of the Matsumura Seito line of Shorin-ryu karate also studied under Gokenki in the early part of the century and passed on many of the white crane techniques. Now, before we get into the kata, I wanted to make you familiar with some products that we have from Yamazato that will also help you in your studies of the white crane system and Okinawan karate. The first one is called Okinawa Island of Karate. All right, now this text deals with the biographies of many different masters, evolution of kata, and so forth. Another one is the Bubishi. Now, this text is really relevant to the kata that we're about to learn for several reasons. Number one, like the kata itself, it was brought from China to Okinawa, and it details the application of the techniques and the history of the white crane system. And also, you'll notice on the front of the Bubishi is the Fujian province, China, martial arts deity known as Busaganashi. Now, we're going to mention him a little bit later on in the video, especially when it comes to a certain posture in the kata, so look for that a little bit later on. Another text that we have is the International Shorin-ryu Karate Kobudo Federation Training Manual. Okay, this also has a lot of history in it, philosophy, training techniques, and so forth, and about 200 pages long, and certainly should be a part of your reference library. Then finally, I'd like to mention a few things about some of the other Yamazato videos. We have the entire Shorin-ryu karate system on videotape. We also have other styles such as Shotokan, Shito-ryu, Aikido, Aiki-Jiu-Jitsu, and also Okinawa Kobudo, or the weapons system as practiced in Okinawa. Now, I'd like to get you, without further ado, into and learning Mura Hakutsuru Kata.
Fire!
The Hakutsuru Kata is oftentimes performed to music. Actually, the haunting melody of the Japanese shakuhachi, or bamboo flute, and is called Hakutsuru no Mai, or Hakutsuru dance. It is very beautiful that way. One reason is the kata also, the whole white crane system, imitates the delicate movements of the white crane. So I'd like to perform the kata for you again now. But this time with the shakuhachi music involved. You can see some of the artistic applications to the kata before we get into the combative applications. now take you through the Hakutsuru Kata one more time. This time from a side view, so you can see all the intricate movements from a 90-degree angle. So if you missed something in some of the other presentations of the form, you can get it from a side view this time. Hakutsuru! Through the kata, just slowly explaining the movements. First of all, start from Musubidata, or attention stance, rei, or bow, for courtesy. Next, bring your hands together, yoi, draw them in. And the next movement is they come back in and the wings of the crane unfold this way. And then back into this position, right to here. Now, pull back this way with your fist, right hand in a fist, left hand open like that along the left side of your body. All right, step out into a cat stance like that. This is like a salute in the beginning of the kata. Then stepping out into Pasai Dachi, or like a high Shikadachi, like this. Okay. Then both hands down, and then slowly to the sides. Now, step back, or right foot to left, and step through, unfolding the wings, and step down with your right foot. Next thing that happens, and this occurs 5 times in the kata. A lot of the versions of Hakutsuru only have 3 times, or most of them it's 3 times. This one is 5. You draw back, thrust the fingers to the eyes or throat, step in, palm heel, and then pull back and block again. Turn your lead foot out so that you can step through all the way down. And of course, you can do this with different, this is such an advanced kata, there's different ways of doing this. You can do it in various ways. You can accentuate this crane stepping movement by holding it up a little further and then slowly down. Okay, that's up to you, however you want to perform the kata. Thrust to the eyes, step in, palm heel strike, pull back and block. Turn, step again. Thrust to the eyes, palm heel, block. Again, this is number 4. Thrust, step in, palm heel strike, pull back and block. One more time. And if you want to exaggerate this, you can do that. Thrust, palm heel, pull back. Next, step up to Musubi Dachi, tension stance again. Hands come up like this. Crane wings push out to the side. Next movement, pushing down with the right hand, thrusting up with the left. Circle down like this. Step, pivot, and turn into this position. Now, let me step out of the embu-sen of the kata for just a second here so we can analyze that. What happens is you've made a turn and you leave your left hand open at the small of your back. The right hand is out blocking like this. Step in, circular block like that. Big fist up, big fist down, slide back to a more natural stance this way. Okay? One more time. Hooking with the wing of the crane. Next movement. Front kick. Step in, nuki te, down like this, slide back to a cat stance, and block. Right, step forward to Musubi Dachi. You don't step all the way through. You just step to Musubi Dachi like that. Thrust, turn, same movement. Left hand open at the small of your back. Right hand is curved in the wing of the crane, blocking like this. Okay, so let's get back in the embu-sen of the kata now. This should leave you right here. This should leave you right here. Turn so that you're like that. Now, 2 koken ukes. Bent wrist block like this. Up high to your sides. Step in. Push. Now slide back to Musubi Dachi, rotating your hands outward like this. Pull back. Step in. Thrust. Step up. Double block. Now, we're going to do this double Mawashi Uke and leg block at the same time. That's what's going on here. Like this, step down and press. Back to this posture, slide back into a cat stance, double wing of the crane. Next move, look sharply to your left, put your weight on your right foot. You're going to leg block with this foot here, step down, double palm heel block like this, supported, okay? Double thrust. Slide back to this posture, change to here, double nuki te. Head snap right, same movement on the other side. Press, high like this, step in. Nice deep stance, double palm heels like this. Slide back to the cat stance. This way, double nuki te strike. Head snap to the front, up into the one-legged crane stance. Wings go out. Come back in again. Crane posture. Now from here, front kick, step down, blocking this way, and nuki te and ki. Now, slide back to a cat stance. Same posture. Double nuki te. Step up again. Musubi Dachi, and the wings go out, will unfold. Come slowly back around to the front, form a triangle when your fingers meet, your thumb and index fingers. Next move, you assume this posture like this. Now, again, you can do some variations here. One way of doing the kata is very much like Goju-ryu's Seisan kata, where you're sort of taking a little okuriashi step off your lead foot and kicking up your heel, and double koken strikes this way. There's 3 of those. Now, another way of doing it is taking, it involves another bunkai or fighting application, is simply flicking with the fingertips. We'll get into that when we get into combat applications. Another way of doing it is just simply sliding and flipping the fingertips like that. 2 different ways. Now, we get to an interesting point in the kata. This next portion of the kata is what I call the signature posture within the kata. If you'll notice from the cover of the Bubishi, Martial Arts Spirit, the martial arts deity that's on the cover of that, known as Busaganashi in Japanese, okay, is the deity of the southern white crane fighting style, Fukien martial arts. All right, that posture is in the kata. Okay, it's in the kata right here, like this. Okay, so it's a strike this way, Marote block, block, double punch, punch and ki right here, slide back to the cat stance, palm heel down, kokenuke up. Next one, step straight back. If you try to use some kind of semicircular footwork, it doesn't work very well. Step straight back, block, block, thrust. Same thing. Step back, block, block, thrust. One more. Block, block, thrust. Head snap to the right. Step back into a cat stance. It's important that you do what we call threading the eye of the needle. So taking your rear hand like this, pulling it through as you do two koke and uke blocks like this, and then back down into a kamae like this. Going over to the left now, head snap sharply. Thread the needle, pull back, two koke and uke blocks, kamae, fighting posture. Now, back to the front, thread the needle, two koke and ukes, fighting posture. Back to this position. Again, this is another signature within the kata. Back to here, final salute, and yame, close the form. Kumemura Hakusuru. I'd like to now take you through some of the combative applications of Hakusuru. Now remember, in the beginning of the kata, we step out and assume this crane posture, a cat stance, if you will. Two wings of the crane open like this. All right, what's happening here is the cat stance implies that number one, a front kick is coming, or number two, a knee strike. So these stepping movements involve a knee strike, okay? Front kick or a knee strike, like that. Now, the wings of the crane are simply mawashi uke type of block, roundhouse blocking. And also remember from the performance of the kata, the very next movement is drawing back and a nukite thrust, right? Followed by a palm heel strike. These are the elementary or fundamental movements within the Hakusuru kata. So let's just work on some of those right now, and you can see how those are applied in an actual combat situation. Hey. Very slow motion. Now, as your attacker comes in to choke you, you simply slide back, be a cat stance or whatever stance. The wings of the crane fold open like this. Grab, front kick. Solar plexus height, groins or groin kick can be an instep. Okay, either way. All right, another application, knee application, same thing. Okay, slow motion. Wings of the crane unfold like that. Bring your hands behind his head. You drive the knee strike into the solar plexus. That's the most effective way to knock your opponent out. Not necessarily to the face. You drive straight into the solar plexus like that. That's a knockout technique. All right, now, that's some elementary ways. Next, we have to take into consideration other fighting applications that are taken from the white crane system that involve something called Sankaku Taijutsu. What that means is triangle body, right? And that's the transliteration from the Chinese, actually. You and I know it as Tai Sabaki, or body change, or change body, or body shifting, right? So what that is stepping either to the outside or inside of your opponent's punch and working angles against your opponent. So the first one we're going to do is working to the outside of the body. Hey. So, yeah. Okay, a little slower now. What's happening is, from a fighting posture, as your opponent attacks, you slide to the outside, assume the cat stance. The wing of the crane opens up. You'll notice this is an exact movement from the Kata also, at the first turnaround. Grab the wrist, trapping his arm. A lot of the white crane movements involve trapping or actually clamping onto your opponent's arm once you block. Right? So it's block, trap, okay, then kick, because that's the next closest range. You kick like this and step down. You can punch, nukite this way, or punch underneath. Right? That's basically working to the outside of the body. Right? These are hand techniques. You can also do this with kicking techniques. Within the combative applications of the white crane system, you can also kick to the knee this way, kick to the groin, roundhouse kick. You need to do it that high if you want to. Okay? But those are the kicking applications. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. All from the outside while clamping and trapping. And remember what I tell you in the other Shorin Kata, this idea of stepping to the outside, shutting down your opponent. That's where this comes from. It originally comes from the white crane system. So if he decides to punch after you block, once you've got him trapped, you can simply shut him down by a stepping movement and just pressing on his lead hand. This is the trap. All right, now, working the same thing to the inside this time. Okay, what's happening here is, again, you work an angle on your opponent. As he attacks, this way, coming to the inside, front kick to the solar plexus of the lead foot, groin kick like that. Another tactic here, nukite to the suprasternal notch or the throat, right like that. There's actually 2 nukites. One here, and one to the carotid like that. There's 2 of them. Okay. Next is your opponent throws a second punch. So you angle to the inside, and you block the second punch like this. Okay, now that sets you up for a nukite strike afterwards like that. So if you block the first one, and you block the second one, the wings of the crane are opening up, nukite to the carotid. Okay, there's another way. Show you another technique. As the other punch comes in, you block again. Again, this is the kata. You're emulating the movements of the kata like this. You shoot the other hand underneath. This is a trap or clamp. As he goes to punch with the other hand, you shift to the outside. Like that. Strike here. Okay, strike here, press against his knee. Knee strike. It sets you up for all these different applications. Okay. Right? I got the I'd like to take you through some other techniques now, which again all involve this white crane spreading of the wings posture, if you will. This time, these are all throwing techniques. And if you read in the Bubishi, it talks about how the techniques were evolved and put together. Incidentally, the white crane system was supposedly invented by a woman who saw the elusive movements of the crane and noticed that that was the way that an enemy could be defeated. All right. Anyway, what happened was after the initial striking techniques, evasion techniques of footwork and so forth were developed, then the throwing techniques out of the crane posture were developed after that. So here's what some of those look like. Hey. So, yeah. First one is a hammerlock throw. Let's go through that a little slower so you can see how that works. Hey. Okay. Number one, as your attack comes in, we're always presuming there's 2 punches for both wings of the crane. Okay? Block. Second punch comes, block. Now, I told you earlier that a lot of the white crane techniques involving this slight angulation here also involve clamping or trapping the punch. That's what this is. Once that's done, you bend over like this, shoot through to apply a hammer lock. This is a hammer lock throw. You slide your shoulder in there like this. Now you've got the hammer lock, and you combine it with a little sweep here, and over he goes. Now you can apply that another way. Another way is, instead of blocking from the inside, you block from the outside with the lead hand, which simulates hamne in Japanese, or the wing of the crane. Okay, you do a similar hammer lock. This looks like this. Hey, one punch. Block this way. The wing folds over like that, shoots through into the same hammer lock posture, and again, the same throwing technique. All right, so that's the first one, hammer lock. Next one is a coil. Okay? What we have in some of our yakusoku kumite drills, which many of you have in jiu-jitsu training, or aiki jiu-jitsu. Right? All stems from these old styles, okay? Nothing new. Right? 2 punches. So, okay, now, the way this works is, again, you change body to the inside, block the second punch. You can set it up with a little ski strike to the throat like this, or to the eyes. Okay? Then that sets you up for the coil technique, which comes underneath like this. Now you can either sweep with the lead foot, or you can step through Osoto Nari style like this, and take down. Now last, we have 2 techniques, Koto Gaishi Uchi to the inside, and Soto to the outside. Again, all stuff that emanates from this very simple weight training posture. All right, first one looks like this. Hey, 2 punches. Okay. What's happening here is, after you block, remember, block, clamp, down, or trap this way. That's after the second punch comes. Hey. You block the second one, and then just because it's a white crane doesn't mean it's real soft. Okay? I mean, intrinsic energy is what we're dealing with, which is ultimately hard. It just means it doesn't come from somatic or sheer muscular force alone. It has a lot to do with chi, or ki power. Clamp down. Now you're going to work Koto Gaishi. This is Uchi, rotating to the inside like this, pressing straight down into a wrist lock like that. You can also rotate only halfway and go straight down like that. And again, these are subtle movements. It requires a great deal of skill to do this. Okay, next one. Koto Gaishi Soto, or to the outside. Hey! Again, all universal techniques. A little slower so you can see how we got there. Crane block to the inside, block the second punch is coming. Scoop this way, go for Kote Gaishi, like that. Take them all the way over for a submission hold like jiu-jitsu. Again, this stuff does not emanate from simply one style. Okay, he's like totally immobilized, that's what you want. It doesn't emanate from just judo, or just aiki jiu-jitsu, or just aikido, okay, or just karate for that matter. Okay? It all has its roots in the Orient. All the techniques are similar. Hey, arigato. All right, that's a few of the throwing techniques which also emanate from the basic crane posture. Now, walking you a little further through the kata, you'll recall that we get to this point in the form, like this, and come around like that. All right, some things going on there, different things going on. One is that realize that within the white crane system we have palm heel striking, and we have a lot of nukite, or finger thrusting, or poking to vital areas. Now also there are some punches involved, but realize the white crane system was originally predicated upon someone of a slender build, that relied on body shifting to get out of the way of an opponent's attack, like the bird, like a white crane. So that's the idea of the style. So remember, keep in mind, nukite, finger pokes, and palm heel thrusting. And then we have one technique here I want you to see. When we do this portion of the kata like this, you'll notice that your left hand, if you recall, that stays behind your back in an open position, and the other hand is in a wing of the crane blocking movement. Here's what the bunkai, or application of that is. Hey. Hey. Hi-ya! Now, what's going on here is slow motion. What's going on here is your opponent has attacked. Slight tai sabak, block down, palm heel strike. Slide into this posture. So this is a testicle grab. That's what this open hand means behind your back. You can see a couple of things going on. There's a testicle grab, and also, look at this, an arm bar too. Okay, so testicle grab, arm bar, or break, and now you're set up to deal. This opponent is immobilized. You're set up to deal with another attacker coming from the opposite way. That's what this wing of the crane is. Now, if we follow that a little bit further, what happens, the next movement in the kata is to block down like this, beak thrust up, beak thrust down, block, block again, kick, nukite, and block again. All right, so what that's all about there is blocking a front kick and applying a beak thrust, first of all. Right, left side. Right here. Right here is where the first beak thrust goes, like that. This is the same as your Goju Shiho kata, by the way. The neck and the beak of the crane. Next one is to the eye, like that. Now, there are other vitals, of course. There's always that carotid strike. Some people like to strike the brachial plexus, nerve centers in here with that strike also. Remember, this was originally predicated upon people doing lots of finger conditioning, so their fingers were really hard. Some of the vital points, like carotid, eye, and under here, don't really need a lot of finger strength to make those work. Okay, next movement in the kata, left hand punch, right hand punch. Exactly the movements of the form. Right. This kata is so rich with fighting applications, we almost can't break them all down for you on one videotape. If you recall, what's happened is the next move is you turned around like this. Now, two koken uke blocks like that into a double palm heel thrust. Slide back to usurigatsu, but rotate your hands out like this. This is an escape against a double hand grab, following up with palm heel strikes like that. Next move is stepping back, double blocking. This is blocking a choke. Then the kata goes into this double mawashi uke roundhouse blocking system, blocking two punches and incorporating a leg block. The idea of the crane style, a lot of this leg lifting stuff, one-legged stuff, this is a perfect fighting kamae to protect your head, your rib cage, your groin, and leg block at the same time. Very effective against low-level kicks. Right, so it's double mawashi uke, leg block, palm heel thrust, return to the crane posture. Okay, just those few movements there are just loaded with all kinds of fighting applications. So let's go through some of them. Okay, all right, first one is the escaping techniques from a double hand grab. Next, he tries for a choke, block. You can do another throwing technique from here, or let's put it this way, another striking technique, very fancy. Like that, double palm heel strike. When you do the palm heels in actual practice, one is high and one is low. You usually don't do them like this. If you do one high and one low, you'll find that there's offsetting vital points. It's more effective that way. Okay, then another thing we have is, we'll start from the escape position again. Rotate out like this. You see what happens? You can't even hold on at all. You go against his thumb and index finger, like on the other tapes I show you. The same idea of escaping like this. What happens is you pull back to escape like that. Body momentum driving in, boom, toe, palm heel strikes. This way, that way, this way. Okay, or that way. Very effective stuff. Okay, then he tries for the choke, block. Now, you can do a throwing technique from here also. Arm bar. Okay. And now the leg blocking system. We need to talk about that just a little bit. So what's happening is if someone tries to grab you, again we go for the escape like this, strike, go for the choke, block. Now let's say he tries some punching, discharge, he tries for the punch. Here's the roundhouse blocking system. 1, 2, that opens him up. If he does a kick, look at that. Yeah! Set up for the palm heel strikes. Perfect. Hey, there you go. Oh, hey. Tracking the next sequence of movements in the kata. You'll recall what happens is you step off in this direction, leg blocking, bringing your hands up so that you can step down in a marote, palm heel block. This is block against the front kick. We'll get to that later. 2 big koken moves like this. Double palm heel thrust. Slide back to the cat stance, palms up, palms down, double nugite. There's 2 things going on here. Number 1, the wings of the crane unfold and spread upwards like this. This is a block against a choke. Hey. Oh, yeah! Now, technically, here's what's happening. Number 1, as he goes to choke, you block up with double kokens this way and slide back. This is a discharge. It's not a palm heel strike. It's not a strike like we did previously, like this or like that. This is a discharge. The way you do that is when you step, after you've done the block from the choke, like this, you step heel to toe. That is how you affect your discharge of energy to push your opponent away from you, to get your adversary away from you and out of range. When you do a penetration technique, in other words, you're hitting them, wanting to cause damage, your footwork is the opposite. Your footwork goes from toe to heel, like that. So in this particular case, we're going to block and then do the discharge by going heel to toe. That pushes him away. Okay? That's one thing inherent in that movement right there. Next thing is, again, this is an escaping technique. What's happening now is someone has grabbed both hands. You pull back, the same theory. We all have the same physiology or biodynamics, if you will, here. That's just simply the escape. You just simply rotate. Okay, resist, a lot of strength. You just simply rotate up towards the thumb and index finger and get away like that. Nothing to it. Try that on your own. Okay, pull back like this. And now what's happening is the movements of the kata are slide back, escape, go like this. What this is a clearing motion. You recall in your kobudo, your weapons training, you use your bow to clear your opponent's weapon out of the way. Same thing is going on here. Once you've effected the escape like this, you don't want to have his hands in the way of your technique. So once you're here, you go like this. You got his hands now out of the way, from this to that, so that you can double nukite right there, vital points. Now again, if you don't feel confident your fingers are strong enough, you can palm heel strike too. Right, there you go. Hey. The classic white crane posture, which you've all been waiting for. The next movement in the kata, you'll recall, is from here, the crane spreads its wings. You go to the one-leg posture. Balance is required. Like this, out like that. Kick, nukite. Again, there's numerous applications here involving tai sabak, etc., etc. let's just cover one on this one. Straight in. What's happening is your opponent attempts a choke once again. Remember, we're doing evasion. We're going to do evasion straight back this time. One more time. Slow motion. Combination of hand techniques and throwing techniques. All right, what's happening here is your opponent does the choke. You tie sabak, crane stand, sliding out of the way, block that choke. You counter with a front kick. Boom. He decides to counter with his front kick. Now, what's happening here is morote. The right hand is the actual block. This is a circle. It's not pressing straight down. It is a circle, and it's supported by the left hand on top. Okay, kick. Sliding like that. After you complete the circle, you come back around and nukite. You can see that. Nukite right to the pit of the stomach or solar plexus like that. We got hey. Moving along with our kata. The next move is to come up to this posture here, pulling your palms up like that, spreading the wings out, coming back to the center, forming that triangle or sankaku, 3 points. Then coming to this posture, and you'll recall, we shuffled forward like this 3 times. All right, let's analyze that. Number one, hey. Okay, this posture here is, again, it's an escape. They grab you to restrain you. What happens is, just like you do in the kata, you just simply raise your hands up like this and do the wings, and you're out. The crane has escaped. Okay, tight grip, tight grip. Escape like that. Now, another way, or to provide a counterattack with this, is you do the escape, but you roll over on the top of your opponent's hands, coming up like this. This is very similar to Seiunshin Kata in Goju Ryu. What's happening there is the same bunkai. You grab, or you're grabbed, you come up to escape, and grab your partner, pull him into you. Headbutt. That's what happens. You're doing a headbutt right there. All right. Next move. Coming into this kamae, and you can apply this right out of that bunkai. So in other words, from the grab, here's the escape, the headbutt, and you come back, or you can leave the headbutt out, okay, do the escape, and then what happens is right from the escape, go ahead and grab one more time. You come this way, there's your escape, you flick your fingers to the eyes. Remember I told you earlier in the tape there's 2 applications and 2 ways of doing the kata actually. This is the wings, the tips of the wings of the crane. So after the escape, simply pull out like this. You flick to the eyes, or double koken. Like that. Right. We're getting near the end of the form. But one of the things I want to make sure that you learn from this kata is the next movement. What this is you'll recall after these double koken strikes or finger flicks to the eyes, the next movement in the kata is Busaganashi's stance, right? The deity of the white crane style. This move right here. All right. What's going on there? Number one, that is a signature on the kata telling you where it's coming from, telling you it's the white crane system. Because remember, in the kata we have this, then we have the signature pose of Busaganashi. Block, block, punch, 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 block, block. Simplistic bunkai. Just what it looks like is what it is. Nothing to it. Hey. Hey. Oh, yeah. Hey. Okay, a little bit of slow motion there. What's happening is signature posture. Number one, leg lock against the front kick. Block. Block his punch with Morote. The other one comes out, blocks the other punch. That opens him up. 1, 2 punches. Third punch is to the groin. Oh, yeah! thing with this kick, you've got to back away, block this high punch like that. And of course, once you're here, you know what to do. Slide wing of the crane down to the outside. Nukite. Kick this way, kick that way, etc. You know what to do. The next sequence of movements in the Hakusuru Kata is this. You left off with this last posture like that. Now, some interesting elements in blocking here. Stepping straight back, cover. Folding the wing of the crane over is called covering. Blocking out like this, crashing your forearm into your opponent's punch or attacking arm is called repel. So what we actually have is cover, repel, cover, and then counterattack. Here's the buckeye. Now, if you want to put a punch there, okay, as opposed to nukite to a vital point, a little bit more modern way of applying it, it's fine too. Okay, one more time, kind of slow so you can see this. What it is tai sabak. You can even slide to the outside. Remember, we have lots of other techniques. Little tai sabak action. Sankaku taijutsu, okay, triangular body, right? This way. Covered. Now his next punch comes, he's got to have a longer range punch because I've tai sabak. Now cover again, the next punch sets you up for the nukite or punch to the face. Right? Now, the last sequence of movements in the kata involves rear hand blocking. Remember I told you about inserting the needle or through the eye of the needle, okay, like this, and then double koken like that into a kamae. What's happening, or fighting posture? What's happening here is this, right? Okay. Number one, slow motion. What's going on is double blocking, either this way or this, changing your feet and this becoming the rear hand. Okay. Then this is an arm bar. These kokens are arm bars and a block against the elbow joint, and you go right into. Let me show you this slow motion now. You hit a lot of pressure points now. You hit this one, and you hit that one with the koken. You go to a pressure point here. You squeeze. That enables you to get into a hammerlock. Let's go this way so you can see. Now, once that hammerlock is effective, you want to hold it in place. You do that by attacking the brachial plexus with your fingertips right over here. And now, if you can see that, a little bit of pressure there will keep you in the hammerlock. All right, that's one way of applying that. Another way is making a throwing technique out of it earlier, like we did. Okay, that would be the hammerlock. Now the last thing, last thing I want to leave you with on this kata, remember Kumemura Hakutsuru is the grandfather kata, okay, the source of these other white crane forms. And also, this kata is the entire white crane system in one kata. I'm George Alexander. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it.
because they try and move either away from the kick or they're afraid of the kick. If you can get on the inside of the kick, so if the kick is coming in straight, if you can get on the inside of the kick here and then scoop, then all you do is you hit with a reverse, and as you hit, you step in and hook back leg. And then, again, a good strong reverse punch here. So let's go over to this angle here so you can see it. Person throws the kick, get on the inside and hook up. Reverse punch, hook, reverse, and in. Right? Lots of, no, I shouldn't say lots of people. There's some people that were really good as takedown technicians. One of them, Ron Marshall, excellent man for takedown. Louis Delgado, excellent person for takedown. Thomas LaPuppet, great person for sweeps and takedowns. Miyazaki, great person for sweeps and takedowns. So I have to get, these people use a lot of takedowns techniques, but again, I have to take this from half of my martial arts training and half of judo training. That's where we came from. Anyways. Person is throwing a side kick. Again, you're hooking to the outside, as if you're doing a cross, where you're hitting, but you're grabbing, and then you're doing